What is up, boys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be discussing how to properly roll race your 10-speed Mustang GT. Now, the reason for making this video is because when I first got this car, I actually made a lot of mistakes when it came to racing, and believe it or not, in one of my previous videos, I'll actually pop up the video right here. In my previous video, I actually made one of the biggest mistakes I see people making when they roll race these cars. Now, in a minute, I'm gonna go over everything you need to know and why everything needs to be done the way that it's done so that you can roll race your car, have the best results and the best time with no headaches. Anyways, guys, I'm going to pull up to a spot real quick. We're gonna sit down and talk about a couple of things, including the shifter, the paddle shifters, and then we're gonna hop out on the road and I'll show you guys a couple of pulls using the right method to roll race this car. All right, guys, we just pulled up to Mexico. Mexico looks pretty good this time of year. But yeah, I'm gonna hop into the car in a sec and just go over a bunch of stuff we can talk about while the car's not moving. And then after we're done with that, we're gonna head out onto the Mexico highway and I will show you guys a couple of pulls and the proper method to actually do them. All right, guys, so the first thing you have to understand about these cars is this right here. So basically, in this car, you have park, reverse, neutral, and drive. But you also have something called S, which is sport mode. Now, when you engage the paddle shifters in this car, the paddles will be right here, it will let you go into manual mode, but unless you're in sport mode, you will not stay in paddle mode infinitely. So whenever I'm in regular drive mode, and I press these paddles, eventually the car will just go back to automatic and it'll cut you off from the paddles if you don't use them for too long or if you sit in a specific gear for too long. In order to stop that, you have to be in S mode. Now, the problem with S mode is that the car will not automatically upshift for you. Let's say I go into drag mode real quick. Now I'm in drag mode. So if I downshift to my selected gear for whatever roll I want to do, a 40 or a 60, and I have it in S, because obviously you want to line up with someone, you want to be able to stay in whatever gear you need. So if I'm doing a 40 roll and I downshift into second and I'm not in S mode and you're sitting there looking over at the guy like, oh, when's he going to count down? When's he going to count down? When's he going to honk his horn 3 times? The car is eventually going to automatically disable paddle shifters and it's going to shift for you. And you're gonna be like, oh shit, what the heck? And you're gonna be sitting there looking like an idiot while the guy next to you is like, bro, what's this guy doing? Because you have to be in S mode to keep it in whatever gear you want it to and have the car not mess with it. Okay, so if you look closely, what you can see in this video is that I downshift into third gear, but because I hang in third gear for too long, you can watch it right about now, it automatically shifts back into fourth gear. Then I had to downshift back into third and then hit it. That's the problem when you're not in S mode. The paddle shifters do their own thing and they revert back. It's all just extremely annoying. Anyways, that's the video demonstration from what I said previously. Back to the video. You go into S mode, you use the paddles, you downshift into whatever gear you want, and you hold it there. The next big problem with these cars is that it will not automatically upshift for you when you're in S mode. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna be driving, you're gonna slam on the gas in whatever gear you want, you're gonna look over at the guy like, oh, I'm beating him, I'm pulling on him. And then your car's gonna bang off the rev limiter and not shift. You're gonna look like a clown, basically. And yes, this has happened to me, unfortunately. The issue here, I'm sure plenty of you guys can understand now, is that when it's an S, it will hold the gear, but it will not automatically upshift. So the simple solution to that is, let's put it into S right now. So I'm in drive, but I'm in S. Here's the solution. When you have it in second gear or third gear, if you're doing a 40 or 60, and it's way up there at like 5,000 RPM, what you want to do is the millisecond you put your foot on the gas, you come over here and you pop it 1 notch forward into drive. What that will do is it will automatically disengage the paddle shifting. So your paddle shift icon will disappear on your dash. And again, I will actually show you guys this in a minute whenever I go on my drive, but it's easier to talk about when I'm not actively driving the car. So again, you put it into S, you downshift into your selected gear, you hold it there. The second you slam your foot on the gas, you come over here, you pop it forward 1 time into drive. And you gotta be careful because if you go any further, it'll pop into neutral. Now, one thing to note as well is you will want the car in drag mode. Do not do rolls not in drag mode. You are losing performance. Most people will tell you this. Drag mode shifts way harder than any other mode. Like even if you're in track or Sport Plus, this is Sport Plus right here, this shifts hard. Don't get me wrong, and my car is tuned, but I will tell you this with 100% certainty, this does not shift anywhere near as violent as drag mode. Drag mode is just a missile, man. If you're roll racing, you're gonna want it in drag mode, and then you wanna do the steps I just talked about. Now, the last thing I will say is this. Inside of this car, you have your traction control button right here. So if I press that, it'll turn traction control off. Now, this is pretty big for people that don't have good tires or good traction, or they don't want power to cut out on them when they're roll racing, because you gotta understand, when this car is full bolt-on E85 and you do a 40 roll, there's a very good chance you will lose traction. Now, the big thing here is you have to be careful, okay? Because with traction control regularly off like this, it will disable a lot of the traction control related stuff, but it can still pull power. It can still jolt you for a minute and then kick in and then you'll take off. And again, if you're roll racing someone, that's a make or break scenario right there. You could lose. If you know what you're doing, if you can properly drive this car and you're not an idiot and you have good tires, I would recommend turning traction control all the way off. Now, the way you actually want to do that is you want to come over here and you want to hold the button. You want to hold the button until you see a little pop-up show up right there, advanced traction. So it'll say advanced track, it won't say regular traction control. Now, when advanced track is turned off, you're driving with no assistance. There is nothing. So if you start spinning out, you better let off the gas, man. The car's not gonna do that for you. But it's not going to impede you in terms of performance. Again, I felt this personally. I usually do roll races with traction control turned on because I'm more on the safe side and I do them for fun. I'm not like trying to win money or I'm not super competitive. If I wanted the fastest time, I would turn traction control all the way off. After going over the brief overview about how everything's actually gonna work, let's hop out on the road and I will show you guys 1 or 2 rolls doing the method I just talked about. And yeah. All right, guys, let's hop out on the road real quick. One thing I'm gonna tell you guys is I will not be doing these tests to show you with traction control turned off, but if you pay really close attention, you can probably tell my car does and will cut power when I do this. Trust me, with traction control off, you will feel faster, but you need to have good tires and you need to know what you're doing. Please be careful. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do a pull right here. What I wanna do is I wanna go to my mode selector down here and I'm going to go into drag mode. So drag mode's now engaged. Then I wanna go into sport mode. Now in sport mode, my paddles don't engage immediately. They just stay engaged whenever I engage them. So we're gonna slow down to 40 real quick. Downshift, 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 and go. Okay, so as you just saw, basically what happened was I pushed it too far and it went into neutral. This can happen and I'm glad I caught it on recording, but just for the future, if you guys are gonna do this, make sure you're very careful and you don't push it too far forward. Anyways, back to the video. If you're in S mode, but the car is actually moving, if you push forward too hard, it will go into neutral. So you wanna just give it a nice singular push. You don't wanna push it too hard or it will go into neutral and your car is just gonna rev out. I'm already in drag mode. My traction control is not turned off. We're not gonna be screwing with that. I'm gonna get to about 40 miles an hour, go in second gear and try to do like a small 40 roll for you guys and just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm in S mode right now. So we're gonna go ahead and downshift. Downshift again. Downshift again. Now second gear is what you want for a 40 roll, but here we go. And okay. Little squirrely there, little squirrely there. That was kind of sus. Okay, you guys could probably tell, but I was basically spinning top end of second, bottom half of third there, and the car did not like that. So as you can imagine, if I had traction control off, I probably would have just died right there, because I'm on the stock PP1 rims and tires, which I believe are like 275s. They are PS4S Michelin tires, but they do not hook at all, especially considering the mods I have done to this car, and the fact that the outside temperatures right now are like 50 degrees. So the car is running really, really nice. All right, guys, so now just to further give you guys an example and not do a 40 roll on the literal highway packed full of cars, I'm gonna do one at 60 in third gear, or probably like 50. Just for the video, I'll keep it in Sport Plus mode to show you the difference in shifting, because in drag mode it was very violent. But right here, we'll go into sport, downshift, 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 downshift. We're in fifth, fourth, third. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but in Sport Plus, it does shift really hard, and the shift point is still way high up in the RPM range, but it will not shift nearly as hard as drag mode. As you guys just saw, it's still very fast from a 60 in third gear. So basically, when you're doing a 40 roll, you want to be in second gear. When you're doing a 60 roll, you want to be in third gear. Unfortunately, it's a little annoying to roll race these cars. Now, there is another option you can actually do to not have to deal with the shifter in sport mode or any of that crap. When your car is tuned, you can actually ask your tuner for the car to auto upshift in sport mode. Therefore, you can select whatever gear you want. The car will stay at that gear, but when you step on it, the transmission will still automatically upshift your car, basically making it the best for any sort of roll racing, because then you don't have to actually push the shifter forward. That's all up to your tuner. You have to talk to them about that. I'm tuned by Lund Racing, but I haven't even bothered to ask them, honestly, because I don't really care all that much. I might in the future ask them for a revision just so that I have that capability. But regardless, either way, both methods work, either having your tuner tune it into your vehicle or just using the shift lever right here. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any more questions that I did not touch on, please leave a comment down below and I will try to respond to anything and everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this helped you out or you enjoyed the content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.